Ilina and welcome to another LDRS creative card video. In this video, we're gonna make 2-for-1 cards using the Big Word Love die set. Along with the strips dies, I have already pre-cut. I have stash of these strips that I've cut using my scraps. So I used the 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, and 1/2 inch regular strips, and also the 1/2 stitched strips. I'm using the Slimline strips, but for A2 cards, you can use either the Slimline or the A2 card strips. So let's get started. Here I already have A2 printer paper, and I added double-sided adhesive on the back. So next, in case your strips have little like kind of rough edges, just use a little sanding block. Sometimes there's not enough pressure from the die cutting machine, so do a little bit here in the edges. So that little sanding just removes that and they look perfect. So here I have sped up this up quite a bit, so you're not watching me forever adhere those strips. I don't have any particular order. I'm randomly adding those, just trying to make different variation between the sizes and the colors. So I picked out pinks, reds, pool or aqua, and very pale gray. So what I'm doing here, I'll cover that entire panel with the strips, and as I go along also I cut the edges to get back to that A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So we are almost done here with this panel. So I have a couple more here to go. I decided to add, kind of trim that, add one of those trimmed pieces, so use all your scraps. You can save the smaller pieces for future use and just toss the little ones. So here I'm cutting it down to 4 by 5 1/4. So when I add it to my note card or card base, I have nice white border. So here's where the two parts will come into play, how we're gonna come up with those 2-for-1 cards. We're gonna die cut the love from the Big Word Love dies, and on one card we're gonna use the positive, on the other card we're gonna use the negative. So I'm just removing this die gently because we want to preserve every piece from that die cut. So since we have adhesive here, it's I had to run it through my die cutting machine a couple times to make sure that it cuts through all the layers. The reason it's easier to die cut when you use printer paper, so I would recommend using printer paper like I did instead of cardstock. So here I have glitter white foam, craft foam. So I die cut that love from the glitter white foam, or you can use from glitter white paper too. Just add a little bit more layers. Also, I'll die cut it from white to create a little bit more stability on the back, so it's not as flimsy as foam would be. Before I die cut it, also I added that double-sided adhesive on the back. I'm adding also, I die cut another piece of foam that already had adhesive on the top and the bottom. So now let's assemble our card. I have here the strip, the piece that was with the strips that I die cut the love from, and I added another piece of white cardstock on the back so we can adhere back that love word that's from glitter foam. So I added adhesive on top of the white cardstock die cut, and now I'm removing the adhesive. I find from the foam and adding those together, I find out that if I add liquid adhesive, even though I'm using adhesive tape or adhesive sheets, it gives me a little bit more wiggle room so I can move that more. Otherwise, if you use adhesive tape or sheets, it's stuck there. You don't have any room to move it. So adding that liquid adhesive gives a little bit more flexibility. So we're adding that in the spot there, and then we're gonna add the little the centers from the O, and between the L and the O there's little triangle there, and then the triangle, well, it looks like triangle for the V. So we have it looks completed. It looks like you have added that love word on top of that strip background, so no one will ever know that you have die cut piece out of it to create another card. So now for the strip love word, I'm removing the backing from that adhesive from the foam. Again, I'm adding liquid adhesive, and I'll add the stripped the love die cut with the strips. Again, you can add another piece of cardstock on the back if you don't want so much dimension. I like dimension to my cards, so I decided to go with foam. Just making sure that everything is lined up. Okay, now let's finish up our cards. To add a little bit more dimension, I'm adding foam tape on the back. You can again use craft foam, and I'm adding this on directly on a white note card. So here I'm adding again liquid adhesive, but you will see that I didn't adhere it straight and evenly on both, like evenly spaced on both sides. So what I'm doing here will fix that. I'm cutting it out, like I'm going under that first layer, under that panel and between the foam, and adding it. So I pulled out another note card, added some liquid adhesive on the back, and now looks great. So now let's assemble our second card. I have a piece of white cardstock that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and I will add again liquid adhesive, so we have a little bit more wiggle room here on back of that love. I'll use the ruler to make sure that I adhere this nice and straight and centered. So I'm looking there. I'm actually eyeballing it for the centered, and there we go. So let's assemble this card. I have very pale gray, like the strips that we use for that background. I'm adding another piece of cardstock on the back, and I have the note card that's from that pale gray. I added another piece of cardstock to add some sturdiness on that panel, and then I'm adding the foam tape. Again, you can use craft foam too. That will work as well. Again, I'm adding the liquid adhesive to give me a little bit more wiggle room when I adhere that on my panel, on my card base. And we are done. So here are both our finished cards for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And also please visit our blog for more ideas and more inspiration. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.